Welcome back to the Death Row and Executions channel here on YouTube. I'm Paco Rivera. You can also follow me on Facebook for more Death Row news, execution updates, and more. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. There are 2 executions scheduled for this month, both taking place on the same day, on July 20th. One will be James Barber in Alabama. I profiled that case in a previous video. And the other execution will be 51-year-old Jemaine Cannon in Oklahoma. I found many media reports showing his name as Jermaine, but that is wrong. There is no R in his name. It is Jemaine. Jemaine Cannon was convicted and sentenced to death for the murder of his girlfriend Sharonda Clark in 1995 at her home in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he was staying briefly while on the run from authorities after escaping custody from a prison. Jemaine Cannon was born in Flint, Michigan in November 1971. In the year 1990, when Cannon was 18 years old, he was making advances on a young woman who was also 18. The woman would later say that she barely knew him. When she rejected his advances, Cannon brutally assaulted her with heavy objects by striking her with 3 different things during the assault: an iron, a toaster, and a hammer. Although the woman survived the attack, she was permanently disfigured. The following year, Cannon was convicted to serve a 15-year prison sentence for that crime. By the year 1995, Cannon was allowed to participate in inmate work programs, cleaning and maintaining school buses for the Walters school system in Walters, Oklahoma. I spoke about these community work programs for prisoners in the video I did on Donald Dilbeck, who was executed in Florida back in February. On January 13th, 1995, about 3 weeks before Sharonda Clark's murder, Cannon was on a community work detail when he stole a pickup truck and drove off. And he made his way to the home of Sharonda Clark. In March of the year 1994, a year before, Jemaine and Sharonda began speaking on the phone while he was incarcerated when Jemaine's sister handed her the phone during a conversation. 4 months later, in July, Jemaine was allowed to leave prison with an escort to attend his brother's funeral. And Jemaine's mother introduced Sharonda personally now to her son. After that, they remained in contact as frequently as possible. And after his escape from prison, he moved in with her and they became romantically involved. So it would appear that at this point is when they were considered boyfriend and girlfriend. A woman named Sheena Elliott, a friend of Sharonda's, testified that she saw Jemaine Cannon and Sharonda about 12 o'clock in the afternoon on February 3rd, 1995, and that it seemed to her that they were arguing. Sheena Elliott said that she tried to call Sharonda on the phone later that afternoon to check on her, but Jemaine answered the phone and told her that Sharonda was not there, even though Sheena could hear her in the background. Nobody had contact with Sharonda Clark after that, except for Jemaine Cannon, of course. February 3rd was a Friday. Sharonda Clark had 2 young daughters, ages 6 and 4. People at the daycare center where the children had been that day waited for their mother to pick them up. But the mother, Sharonda, never showed up. By the following day, February 4th, a woman named Jock Pepper contacted police when she was unable to locate or contact Sharonda, now missing for over 24 hours. I'm not sure who exactly Jock Pepper is. I'm guessing she was involved with the daycare center. I'm not sure. And a day after that, on February 5th, police working the missing persons case made entry into Sharonda Clark's apartment and found her dead in the rear bedroom. Authorities at the time had said that Sharonda had been stabbed to death after what was clearly a violent struggle. The day before, on February 4th, Jemaine Cannon had borrowed money from someone, bought a bus ticket, and went to Flint, Michigan, where he was originally from, and moved in with an uncle. While he was there, he called his mother on the phone. The mother informed him about the death of Sharonda Clark. Jemaine told his mother that he and Sharonda were fighting, and Sharonda had a knife and she attacked him. He said the knife fell and they both went to grab for it, that he got a hold of it first and swung it on the way up, accidentally stabbing Sharonda. The mother convinced Jemaine to turn himself in, and he did. Cannon called police and was later arrested and questioned, and he gave detectives back in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the same story that he told his mother. There was just one problem with his story. Detectives had the medical examiner's report from the autopsy of Sharonda Clark, and the report did not match Jemaine's story. Sharonda had 3 separate stab wounds to the neck, one which cut her jugular vein, and she had knife slashes on the palms of her hands, what the medical examiner referred to as obvious defensive wounds, as she tried to protect herself from being killed. Furthermore, Jemaine Cannon's body was thoroughly checked, and he didn't have a scratch on him. Not a single scratch. Yet to this day, Cannon continues with the same story, that he was acting in self-defense. As he told the board at a clemency hearing recently.
Put yourself in my shoes at the moment and what was going on. I didn't know that I was going to be attacked by Sharonda. No, it caught me completely off guard.
And his lawyers are pushing to the public that there is a question about who attacked who.
Arose out of some sort of argument. And there's a dispute as to who attacked whom first.
When I think of the worst of the worst, I think of the man who killed, 189 people in Oklahoma City, not a man who defended himself against someone attacking him. But I do think poverty and I do think race played a big part in what he did.
Clemency is denied.
Please remember to subscribe for more death row and upcoming execution stories. Remember that you can also follow me on Facebook for more death row news, execution updates, and more. There will be a link to my Facebook in the description below. I'm Paco Rivera. Bye for now.